I'm Anil Kumar. Here is a very simple but effective method of learning how to evaluate composite functions. Now we'll have composition of two functions f and g, where f of x is set of points. These are 5 points: minus 2, 1, minus 1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 2, and 2, 4. And g of x is 0, minus 2, 1, 4, 2, 0, 3, 1, 4, minus 1, 5, minus 3. For how many values of x is f of g of x defined? That is your first question. Then you need to calculate all those values and then write domain and range of f of g of x. Treat this as your test question and write your answer, then look into my suggestions. Now let's see how to do it. We want to work f of g, right? So basically we want to first find g of x, right? And the range of g of x becomes the domain. So for example, if we start with 0, then we can say f of g of 0, right? So we say g of 0. Now what is g of 0 here? Minus 2. So that is equals to f of minus 2. Now minus 2, the range of g of x, these are the ranges of g of x, right? That becomes the domain of f of x. So for minus 2 we have value 1. So that is equals to 1, correct? So that gives you a point, and this point for us is for 0 input, 1 is the output. That is for the function. Do you get the point, right? So what we get for here is we get 1 value, and that is how it is related. So output of 0 was minus 2 for g of x. That became the input for f of x, and the output 1. Do you see that? Let's take the next value. We are taking this as f of g of 1, right? So if I write g of 1, that means f of g of 1 is 4. Now 4 equals to, as you can see here, 4 is not there in the input, so it does not exist. So that value you cannot find, correct? So that does not exist. So it is 4, but 4 is kind of dropped out since f does not have input of 4, right? Let's look into the next function. Next input value is 2 for g, right? So we say f of g of 2. Now g of 2 is 0, so we get f of 0, and for 0 we have output as 3, right? So that 0 connects, and then you get 3 as the output. So that is the point. So for 2 we get 3 as the output. So that works. Now let me take another value, which in this case will be, so we have already considered 2, right? So now we'll take 3. So f of g of 3, that is f of g of 3 is 1, right? So 1. So f of 1 is 2, so that is the output. So that is 2. So we get 3 input, 2 is the output, correct? Now let me take f of g of 4. So f of g of 4 is equals to f of minus 1, and minus 1 output is 4. So we get 4 as the output. So 4 is output of 4. Perfect. Now let's take the last value, which for us is, let me push it a bit in forward here, f of g of 5, okay? Now that is f of minus 3, and for minus 3 we cannot have input of f as minus 3, so that does not exist. Do you get the point? So from here, what do we get? From here, what we find is that f of g of x is actually equals to these set of points. So let me write down these set of points as 0, 1, then we have 2, 3, then we have 3, 2, and 4, 4, correct? Now for that we can write domain and range now, correct? So for this function now we have domain of f of g as equals to the x values 0, 2, 3, and 4. the range of f of g is equals to 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 3, 2, 4. You get the point. You will see that the domain is subset of G, right? 0, 2, 3, 4. 0, 2, 3, 4, right? These 2 points, their output is not the input of f of x, so they do not exist in the domain of f of g. Range is subset of range of f of x. 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 3, 2 and 4. Do you get the idea? So that is how the composite functions are connected, and that is how you can evaluate. I hope with this example you kind of understand how to solve them. And clearly we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So calculate all of them. How many of them are defined? 4 are defined. How do we know these 4 are defined? Because the outputs of G's are connected with inputs. So let me connect. So minus 2. 4 is not connected, but 0 is connected. Second connection. 1 is connected. Third connection. Minus 1 is connected. Do you see that? Fourth connection. So output of G becomes input of F. If that is there, that connection is there, then you can have a composite function. And that connection is there for 4 of these inputs. So we have 4 f of g terms in this set. I hope that helps. Thank you and all the best.